we're going to take a look at our on-the-grid piece at the first ever Politicon, a celebration of all things political. Let's check it out.
This is Vigilant producer Alex Logan here on the grid at Politicon 2015. All right, let's check it out together. Something that we're asking people about are third-party candidates. Do you support any third-party candidates? Are you interested in any third parties?
Not in this electoral cycle, at least for president.
Probably not on the third-party candidates.
And why wouldn't you vote for a third-party candidate?
I don't think they're viable.
Having third-party or even multiple candidates competing for parties would help the people. It would break up the binary system.
Do you think that it would be less about this bipartisanship if they were able to be a part of it?
It certainly would, because it would allow more Americans to think for themselves. We as a whole, we don't have to, not choosing two sides. You know, basically breaking the whole paradigm of, oh no, I'm a Democrat, or oh no, I'm a Republican.
There are times where I agree with Republicans, I support Rand Paul, but then sometimes I support people from the left, and so it's kind of hard because I want somebody in the middle, and that's what third-party candidates represent for me.
If the third-party candidates were able to in any way participate, do you think it would be more about those issues and less about those candidates and their parties?
Oh, totally. Yeah, there's no doubt, right? Because when you don't have a familiar face or a standing legacy kind of up there talking about it, it becomes less about them, like you're saying, and more about what they're talking about.
I do feel that it would have a positive impact on our political system and give people more options. Right now, with the two parties, it's their best interest to keep third parties out.
I believe they should be more of the political process. They're kind of shunted off to the side by the main two parties, and with the kind of the common rhetoric that, oh, you're throwing away your vote. You're just voting for the enemy with that. If we can maybe incorporate a system like proportional representation and give them more of a shot, I think it would force the two main parties to really focus on what the people care about more.
Do you support any third parties? Have you ever been interested in any of the third-party candidates?
No, because I'm one of those soulless pragmatists who actually likes to win. I'm of the belief that you prove yourself first and then you get the attention, because then where do you draw the line? Like the Republican debates, well, okay, you have to be at 3%. Well, then you have to be at 1%. I've got more votes than Jim Gilmore.
So what do you think, Governor, of our coverage?
I think it was tremendous, but I think a lot of people are missing the point on this. Like when these guys bring up that last guy, 2%, 1%, I get more. Well, they need to understand when the third-party candidates are completely shut out of the system and not allowed in it, they're not going to get any percentage. I was polling less than 10% at the primary in Minnesota in 1998, but I was allowed in the debates, and I showed you could go from single digits to winning the governor of Minnesota in 2 months because they allowed a third-party candidate to debate, and the same thing could happen on a national level. I proved it. If you allow the third-party candidate or the alternative candidate in the same debates with the established two, it can be done. In fact, the likelihood of it being done increases dramatically because the third-party candidate doesn't have the negative baggage that these two parties do, in the fact that they've been in charge for 150 years, and look at the mess we're in. These people that say, we don't need them there, the numbers don't add up. Of course the numbers don't add up when you're not given a chance and nobody even hears you.
Well, how do we end up getting these third parties into the debates? I mean, how do we get the people to break their addiction to this two-party system? That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. That's why you need a third-party candidate who has huge name recognition. You need somebody in the third-party movement who's won before and has name recognition and doesn't have to buy it, and who could stir up the pot and force these cowards to let he or she into the debates. Where that's going to happen, I don't know. Well, can you think of any possible third-party candidates that they could get excited about in 2016? Other than the guy you're looking at, that puts the world on my shoulders, don't it? A little bit. No, there's a few out there, I think. Gary Johnson's done well, but he's not a household name.
He was the governor of New Mexico, hugely qualified. Ralph Nader did pretty darn good. But the point is, none of them were allowed in debates where they could have done even better. And once established in debates, then people would get accustomed to seeing Green Party, Libertarian Party, Democrat, and Republican, 4 choices. And when people would hear all 4 of them, you don't think the Libertarians and the Greenies would rise up in the polls? Absolutely they would, because the one thing that would make them rise up in the polls would be the simple question, do you take any corporate money and will corporations be running you? Well, Libertarians and Green Party candidates can say, no, I don't. Democrats and Republicans cannot make that claim. How do you think that would play on the general public if they knew 2 of them were owned by corporations and the other 2 weren't? That's it for today's Off the Grid. Be sure to check out aura.tv/offthegrid for exclusive videos and articles by my Off the Grid contributors and me. Until next time, stay vigilant, people.